Joining us now, Mark Lytle, the attorney for IRS whistleblower Gary Shapley. Mark, it's a pleasure having you on, sir. We've been wanting to talk to you for some time. Sir, can you give us an update on what your client is saying now about the DOJ and FBI officials interfering in Biden family probes, including, things like Biden bribery allegations, sweetheart deals for Hunter Biden? We've got multiple House probes now on this.
Yeah, thanks for having me today. I really appreciate it, the opportunity to discuss it with you. There really has been an enormous outreach from Congress. There's 3 committees now interested in looking into this matter. You've got the House Ways and Means Committee, the House Judiciary Committee, and the House Oversight Committee. And you have some Senate, Senate interest as well. And so it's really blowing up, and it's important because, my client, Gary Shapley, Supervisory Special Agent of the IRS, he sat for 6 or 7 hours before the House Ways and Means Committee and answered questions from both House Democrats and Republicans. And he was under threats of penalties of false statements. And he survived the hot light. The transcripts are released for everyone to take a look at. And what that record shows is preferential treatment for the president's son and statements about U.S. Attorney Weiss, who has said that he told agents at that October 7th, 2022 meeting that he sought special counsel approval from DOJ and was denied it. So there's a lot of things going on right now. And most recently today, there was a letter from Weiss to Senators Graham and Durbin, which is now a different version of sort of this ongoing release of, different variations of stories from the U.S. Attorney Weiss, who has not agreed to an interview or testimony in front of Congress yet.
What disturbs you and shocks you the most about all of this?
Well, I think what's really concerning is when you have the testimony of 14-year veteran Gary Shapley, Supervisory Special Agent, and then you have the line agent who's also a whistleblower, but most specifically Gary Shapley's testimony about his red line meeting that took place on October 7th, 2022, where they had been counting on the Attorney General's statement saying that they specifically appointed Weiss as a Trump appointee who had authority to do whatever he needed to do in the case. And the agents show up, and it's not just line agents. You've got like high-up executives with the FBI, high-up executives with the IRS. You've got Weiss's own first assistant and criminal chief at this meeting at the U.S. Attorney's Office. And Weiss says he tried to take it to the District of Columbia. That U.S. attorney, who's a Biden appointee,
you're talking about Attorney Wolf? You're talking about Wolf?
Yep. Well, the AUSA in Delaware, who works directly for U.S. Attorney Weiss, that's Wolf. That's Leslie Wolf. But U.S. Attorney Weiss was at that meeting, and U.S. Attorney Weiss is the one who told everyone that he had tried to take it to D.C. and it was declined, that he tried to seek special counsel approval and it was declined. And I'll tell you, the whistleblowers, Gary Shapley, the line agent, between the two of them, they've spent now probably collectively 14 hours testifying in front of the House Ways and Means Committee under rigorous questioning from both Democrats and Republicans. But U.S. Attorney Weiss has not done so, and he has not agreed to do so.
So they're not doing anything. So then they're not doing anything, right, behind the scenes. That in itself is obstruction of justice. I mean, Senator Chuck Grassley is sending a letter to David Weiss demanding he explain why the DOJ apparently has no investigation into criminal bribery allegations made against Hunter Biden and his father Joe Biden that involve at least 17 audio tapes reportedly. And your client is saying Assistant U.S. Attorney General Leslie Wolf blocked these investigative efforts to question Hunter Biden's business partner, Rob Walker, about Joe Biden, saying there was enough probable cause for a search warrant at Joe Biden's guest house in Delaware, but it was blocked due to optics, blocked investigators from searching Hunter Biden's storage unit, tipped off Hunter Biden's defense counsel about that search. That's what's going on?
That's right. The record is replete with examples of where, IRS agents, they are the SEAL Team 6 of money investigations, of following the money, of financial investigations. They're good at what they do. And when they saw leads that went to go directly to either the president or the president's son or the offshore connections with the Chinese energy company or other things, then they were stopped and they weren't able to pursue those questions or those investigative steps.
It's cover-up. It's obstruction. That's against the law. Mark Lytle, thanks for joining us. We'll have you back on again soon.